Hayden? Hey, Mike. Good to see you. Who's coming? I don't think so.
Order. Welcome to the Historic Preservation Review Board regular meeting. This is a citizen board appointed by the town council to interpret and uphold the historic preservation ordinance. We serve as a bridge between the property owners and the district with regard to the design review process. So we're excited to hear any input. If you are going to be speaking, if you would approach the podium, introduce yourself, and give us your mailing address. So the first item of business is roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Here.
Mr. Owens?
Here.
Mrs. Hartshorn is absent. Mrs. White?
Here.
And Mr. Geisler?
Here. All right, the approval of the January 5, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Does anyone have any corrections or comments regarding those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
The January 5th, I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Owens?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Geisler?
Aye. And then the January 19, 2022 work session meeting, are there any changes or comments regarding those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I wasn't there, so I can't
19th.
make that motion.
Oh, I'm so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Owens was not there. Mrs. Hartshorn is absent. Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Geisler?
Aye. Okay, certificate of appropriateness, 211 West Main Street, Greco's Grill and Cafe.
Do we want to wait and see if he
Sure.
shows up and just go to the next one?
Sure. All right, we'll table that for the moment, and a certificate of appropriateness for the Abingdon Virginia Visitor Center Fields Pen House.
Do we want to?
That must be you.
Do we want to start? Do we want to start with a staff report this time, like we kind of talked
Sure,
about?
why don't we do that? Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good idea. I forgot we
Kind of
talked
just
about
changing
that.
our protocol a tiny bit, so that people online, if people are watching, can know what we're talking about a little more. So let me just scroll down to that, and we'll bring it up here. So what we're looking at is Tanya Triplett, who is the town of, a staff member for the town of Abingdon, and her representative Jessica Cook are requesting approval for certificate of appropriateness for signage for the soon-to-be-open town of Abingdon Visitor Center. That property is located at 208 West Main Street, and so you can see here on this, on the image that's on the screen, they're proposing two signs, one to be located on Main Street and one to be located on Cummings and Runsburg, where they intersect. And so with that, they're in the old and historic district, and so they need to come through the HPRB for a certificate of appropriateness. The standards for the code that we're looking at is section 21-5-1, which talks about signs displayed in the town of Abingdon. Specifically in the old and historic district, those signs are subject to the town of Abingdon design and review guidelines. And then we pulled just a couple of items out of the design review guidelines to talk about tonight. Most specifically, that signs should be located appropriate to the size and location of the building. Individual signs should not exceed 4 square feet. Sign size restrictions do not apply to hotels, theaters, restaurants, and churches. And then in the case of commercial buildings, signs should be freestanding, which is proposed tonight, or affixed to the face of the building. The key thing with the HPRB is that the Historic Preservation Review Board may differentiate its requirements on the basis of contributing versus non-contributing structures. And so the request tonight is for a sign that is larger than the 4 square feet, as it was presented, approximately 6 square feet. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the sign, and I'll turn it over to the applicant, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Jessica Cook, Jerry Signs, 15775 Porterfield Highway, Abingdon, Virginia. And I am bringing the presentation for the Abingdon Visitor Center sign. This is the wolf that will be at the top of the sign. I wanted to show you since it's kind of heavy, so I'm going to set it right here. And the sign is a carved HDU sign, which is what we typically see throughout the historic district. Right now we have it black, gray, and white, double-sided, and it'll be hand-painted with 2 metal posts at each of the openings that we would install them that are painted black to match. With the wolf, there's one more wolf for the other sign that will be mounted at the top. And the way we have it designed, I think that we are at the 6 square feet. Tanya had mentioned maybe asking for something larger, but I have a design that's larger if we want to look at it, but that's everything that I have so far. If you have any questions for me.
Question, the wolf logo on top, that's included in the 6 square feet? Or is it the sign, the 6 square feet?
I believe that the sign itself was 6 square feet. I left the wolf off in the beginning, and then
It was
I
included, because this.
Oh, you included it?
I
Okay.
did. Mhm.
Great, then it is included.
So therefore, the square footage, is it 6 square feet? The 6 square footage includes the logo at the top, the wolf.
It does, yeah. And Tanya is also on the line, so if you want to ask her any questions as well.
Okay.
So the actual sign is 16 inches by 36 inches. And will there be lighting with the sign?
At this time, no. We have it just as a carved sign without lighting. If I could ask Tanya if she's interested in exterior down lighting. I think we've done on a bracket on some of the signs,
Mhm.
but it's more of a demure way of doing it, not internally lit, just a little bracket that comes out and points at the faces of the sign, if that was something that she wanted, but we have it as non-lit right now.
So would that be on the sign? The bracket would be on the sign?
We would find a way to incorporate it into it. I would have to show you all a design to let you see the bracket, because
Okay.
the designer would have to come up with something for me that looks
Yeah.
nice, that makes it look like it's part of the sign, and I would have to.
Could it be
show
uplit
you.
instead of downlit?
They can be, depending on how tall they are, whether or not, yeah, yes, it can be. I'm starting to think about it, how we could design it, but I can show you all.
And maybe I could just read into the code if you all don't mind, so you just know where that's coming from. It just says
Mhm.
lighting should be concealed and should not be not use visible bulbs, flashing lights, or luminous paints, and it says spot or uplit lighting for signs is recommended.
Got it,
So.
okay.
I have another question.
And I think with our, if I could interject here for just a second, the Visitor Center hours are going to be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday. So I don't think it's extremely necessary to have those signs lit. There's also some street lights right there along that sidewalk. I would like to have it tall enough to be able to see over the fence.
Okay, good point. Could I ask another question?
Yes,
So, is it double-sided?
Yes.
So it's the same thing on the other side?
exactly the same,
Okay.
yes.
And there are 2 signs?
There are 2 signs
One
total.
on the front corner of northeast Main.
Yes.
Okay, right on the corner there.
Yes.
And the other on the back corner, same corner?
I believe so. Tanya, is that where you wanted it?
On the east corner?
I'd like to have it, Betsy, right about the middle of the sidewalk in the parking lot on the front side on Main Street. There's already a Fields
Oh, I
Penthouse
see, I
sign
see, it, I
there.
see it. I see the picture right
And
now.
then-
Yeah,
And then on the back corner, I would love for that to be, right there in the corner on Remsburg and Cummings, so as guests coming in off of that street would be able to see that sign.
okay, so it's on the northwest corner in the front. Go ahead in that way.
I think so.
Yeah,
She's gonna
the
have to
picture
walk me
shows
out
it
there
there.
so I can see it.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what the height of the bottom of the sign from the ground is going to be?
I know that it needs to be at a level that cars are going to see it, so really we could adjust, but I think the typical height from the ground to the bottom of the sign would be 5 feet in this case. So that would put the sign,
So Tanya was just saying she wants it to just to be visible above the fence, correct?
so we need.
Yeah, I don't want the fence to block it, so if we could get it up just high enough, which the fence is, probably 3 feet?
3 to 4 feet, and I can check the measurement on it and get an exact height sent out to everyone to.
Or, yes, or we could agree that just it needs to clear the fence.
Yes. That's
I think
perfect.
as long as it cleared the fence but wasn't significantly higher. that would
Yes,
be fine.
right, just the minimum over the fence.
Right, so it still looks aesthetically
Yeah.
pleasing, but you can see it over the fence, and we'll match that. Got it.
And is the sign, I guess there's a movable sign on Main Street that's
Mhm.
there now. Is that going to go away when this sign goes in?
The sign that has Fields Pen on it, the oval, I know would be
No, not.
taken away, but the one that looks like the town of Abingdon logo. And Tanya, what's the plan for that sign?
Because that's another big sign in the same place you're talking about putting this
I
one.
don't recognize that sign. Is there?
The Fields Penthouse sign,
The one that
the
has.
Fields Penthouse sign will be
the town
replaced.
Artwork on it, is it going to be moved somewhere else?
Which one?
It's a big metal sign that has like the town of Abingdon on it, and it sits on a stand that can be moved if I'm,
Oh, the Love Works.
love, yes.
We can make arrangements to move that if it's a problem.
It just seems like that's going to be two very big signs right there in the same place.
Yeah, maybe we want to move that to maybe the back lawn, if that's a possibility. Or we could maybe move that around to one of the parks in town.
Okay.
The Y Park comes to mind in particular, out by the Creeper Trail. That would,
Right.
so we could make some arrangements. Yeah, I agree that would be very busy right there, and we probably would need to move that.
So this is definitely a contributing structure, one of the primary contributing structures in the district. So we do need to be careful about the signage. So what we're looking at as a deviation from the guidelines is really just that increased size right this minute, isn't it?
Right.
And the increased size incorporates the wolf on the top. So basically, the sign itself is probably in line with the usual.
It's exactly 4 square
Yeah,
feet
yeah,
Mhm.
okay,
without the wolf.
right.
That's correct.
Well, and also, it is a visitor center.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the idea is for people that aren't familiar with this area to be able to find it, to get information about the rest of the area.
Right.
Do we have to vote by 4 out of 5 to vary from the guidelines, or is that, or well, I guess maybe we're not technically doing that if we've decided the size itself is 4 square feet?
I would caution you to say the sign is 4 square feet, since we talked a lot at the last meeting about the size of the awning, contributing to the size of the signs in our last discussion. So I would definitely think it should still be considered 6 square feet, as that's part of the sign.
Agreed.
So yes, I think that you all should make a motion for 4 to 1 if you choose to allow the sign to be larger and deviate from the standards.
Part of the code, it allows restaurants,
Mhm.
churches. This would not fall into that,
It's not
the
one of
visitors? Okay.
But you are allowed to make a motion to deviate from the requirements.
I'll make that motion, in this case, that we deviate from the requirements for this sign.
Second.
I got a, go ahead.
Mhm.
A quick question. What were the colors? What you were, black and
They
white?
are
Is that-
black, white, and a little bit of gray for the mountains on the wolves. So it's, everything's black and white, really, except for the mountain.
Yeah, oh, I just wanted to clarify that in the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Geisler.
Aye. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you, Tanya.
Okay, and now we'll go back to 211 West Main Street, Greco's Grill and Cafe. I think that needs you, I think you're gonna give us, we'll have a summary before we, if you'll just hold tight for just a second. And
I'll just give you a quick summary so that if anyone's watching it online, they have a good idea what we're talking about. So Mustafa Ahmed, who's the owner, has requested approval for certificate of appropriateness for a sign for the expansion of the existing Greco's Grill and Cafe to the adjacent building. The adjacent building is going to be identified as a coffee shop, and the reason that this sign is coming before you tonight is that the property is located at 211 West Main Street, and that is in the old and historic district. I did put a picture of the frontage in the staff report so we can kind of understand that the sign is proposed to be tucked slightly, underneath, I guess one might say, sort of behind the columns. When we originally spoke with the applicant, there was a question as to whether or not they didn't have to come through, and I said, well, no, you still can see that from a public right away. So they agreed to come through and ask for this request. So similar to the last one that we just had, the regulations indicate that signs should be appropriate to the size and location of the building. Individual signs should not exceed the 4 square feet. But sign size restrictions do not apply to hotels, theaters, restaurants, and churches. And so in this case, it is a commercial building, and they are proposing to affix the sign to the face of the building. And so the application seemed to indicate the sign is approximately 12 feet long and about 1 foot high, so 12 square feet is what the drawing showed. So with that, if you have any questions for me, otherwise the applicant is here to discuss the sign location.
welcome. You can go ahead and come on up.
How are you doing, Al?
Thank you. Could you specifically show where it is? Is it over one of those windows?
Okay, so first, this sign, the picture of the sign actually would be different. It could be the same size, but we were thinking we doing a coffee shop, and we thinking we're running as a Greekos as the other restaurant we have. But in the end, we gonna make it a different name. So,
Oh, okay.
but we looking to make, if we be able to do the same size of sign in the same place that I was looking for. So, I don't know that.
So where is the space that you're looking at?
Oh, this is,
Could you scroll down?
Do you want to see the building, maybe? Is that what you're
Yes.
thinking?
So, yes.
it's, yeah, in there.
Where in there?
It's the.
Left of the doors.
So it's the one
Oh, right
in the,
here.
it's not.
Oh,
So
right
it's-
there
it's
where the
facing
circle
the-
is.
it's- yeah.
I see it, I see it.
It's
Okay.
facing the parking lot.
Right, okay.
Is that another space to the right that you won't be using?
Yeah, so we are, Greek was on the left, and this, the parking lot in here, and this will be on the right.
They will be using the
That's
entire
what you-
space.
Okay, that was my
Oh,
question.
okay.
Oh, that was my question too.
So you won't be putting any signs on the other structure that,
On the other side of the door.
right, just one side of the door is what you're gonna be putting a sign on?
Okay, can I go
Sure.
there?
Yes.
All right. So before, if you guys see this, like a metal hanging,
Yes.
there
Yes.
used to be a sign in there, and we thought we're gonna use this one, but this one it's really small. So right now, we kind of open, we need to know what you guys will approve, so we can work from there. As I had this sign before, but right now we're not using it, so it's a different story. So we have the space for this one here, I think with another one just right in front of the building, that is a middle, like, long one that can have a sign in there. But we were thought if we can have it just right in the middle of the building. The coffee shop is run from here to there, so we wanted to be the sign in there, like a lighting sign.
Okay.
So the building already has a large sign in front of it, is that right?
It's
Let's
just
see
that
if I
handy
can-
thing.
Yeah, I think I might show up in this picture in
It has multiple
Okay.
tenants in it.
This is
Right.
for the whole building, like, I think is an office gonna be there, up there, so we all sharing these signs. So if you see the sign of Rico's, a little one in there, and I think they said the office sign would be in here, in the top, and the coffee shop would be there.
Question I'm still not clear with, if we could go, can I step down there just a second? Just, I think I can point and make more sense. The sign you're wanting to put up is right here, correct?
Yes, sir.
But this will be part of the coffee shop too, correct?
Every way.
What's that going to be, anything? Or-
No, nothing in there.
Okay.
So, Mike, point where you said the sign's gonna be? Right there, okay, all right.
The reason I was asking this question, I'm just trying to get a handle on how many potential signs could be going on this building eventually with different tenants and what, and by varying this, by agreeing to a larger sign, what we could be opening up for with regard to other businesses.
Because it's significantly bigger, I mean, at 12 square feet. However, this is not a contributing building.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah.
I assumed it wasn't.
No.
Do
And
you
it
have
is-
the
it
whole
is a
first
commercial
floor
building.
for your,
Yeah, this is the whole building. The
yeah,
things
so there
that-
won't be anything else on the first
Okay.
Yeah,
floor, we know
the first
that.
floor, just me. And, the thing is, it's kind of hidden, and I'm just trying to make, something that people can see it from the
Yes.
outside.
Yes.
Will you have the entire first floor, not just those two windows?
I'm just asking.
So,
Well,
this,
I'm
yeah,
getting
the floor,
clarification.
will start, so,
He
right
said yes.
there, we gonna put a patio, right there, like in front. We're making a patio in there, and I believe the Doug Ellis, the owner of the
Patio.
building that I'm renting
A
from,
bedroom?
he got
Patio.
approved already for that before. The patio.
No, it's okay, you're okay.
So we put like 3-4 tables.
Oh,
in here,
yes, yes.
some little umbrellas, but as I know, it's already been approved for Doug Ellis when he had the school up there.
I thought he said
But
he was
from
gonna go
here
through.
all the way to down, this is gonna be us,
Okay, on the bottom.
on the bottom.
On the
Yes,
bottom,
ma'am.
okay.
The second floor, I believe, is gonna be lawyer office.
All
So the
right.
Candyland is not gonna be there anymore?
No, I guess Candyland is gone long time ago, about
Oh.
2 years now.
Will you also be using this part of the first floor where those windows at the very back are? You'll be using the entire
This one here?
Yes.
This is, actually, I made this as an office.
Okay,
So
but
that
that'll be
is-
part of what you're
It
using?
is part,
Okay.
yeah.
So the signage, other than what we're seeing right there, is just this one sign you want approved, this 12 by 1 foot sign?
Yeah, so what I
Okay.
believe we already have this sign over there and another one like on the side in here. But I'm trying to put one other, like a lighting sign in the middle of the building, so whoever comes driving can see it and can know that's.
So you're gonna eliminate the one that's on the bracket that you were just,
Like in the middle here.
yes,
Where,
Mhm.
I
yes.
mean, we were thought to put it in here, but someone told me that it might not be approved. If you go there in the middle, it'll be, so I don't know. You guys decided. I would prefer to be there, of course. If you take this space here where the white wood in there, it will be more sceneable, like. You
That would
can
make
see
more sense to me.
And you're referring to your sign you're trying to get approved tonight, the 12-foot sign?
Yeah.
You would prefer to be it on the first
I
facade,
prefer to be
the first facade?
Yeah,
Oh,
I prefer to be in there.
why would we not want that?
Well, I'm sure whoever told him that was probably just thinking it would be slightly less conspicuous back from the street, but I don't know that it really makes much difference to us.
It does.
Did you say a lighted sign?
Yes.
You mean with a spotlight on it or internally lit?
So can we go back to that sign there? this one, so this is a sign, and it's like kind of lit from behind it. So we have like kind of the logo, and just it's lighting from behind it, it's like. So you would just see kind of the name, but having like a little bit of lights behind it, like on the things itself.
Is that what you currently have on your existing sign?
So I had this sign before. I had a restaurant that's closed down, and I had this sign that I was trying to use it as before we were like thought to open, like to make it the same name as Greekos. But now as we're changing the name, I have to design and make another sign.
Because our guidelines don't allow for internally lit signs.
Okay, that's it.
But it's not technically internally lit. The lighting is behind the letters.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be picky about it, but I mean, I think there is a distinction.
And
Well-
I can read this again. It
Okay.
says spot or uplit, so spotlight on or lighting up for signs is recommended, but they should not be backlit or internally lit. Does that
It's
help?
backlit.
So this is backlit, I think, yeah. I think it's, the sense of it is trying not to have neon signs.
But you would have,
Which we have
I
some
I
of.
think, the opportunity to still light it, possibly if it's approved, from up here or up here wherever.
From the
Would-
top, from
Yeah.
an overhang
Maybe, yeah.
to light it for you, because you need it lit at night. Yes,
Well, I have a comment.
okay,
So this is a non-contributing building.
yes,
At the very edge of the district.
right.
Right next door is the commercial building that's not in the district with signage that we don't control.
Mhm.
I don't have any issue with that sign.
What is the, well, tell me this, what building are you referring to?
It's other. restaurant.
Your other restaurant?
Yeah, that's not in the district.
It is
I
in the
think it
district.
is, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought this was
It
the
is in
last
the
one.
district.
No, it is. It
Let's
is.
see.
Does,
Go ahead,
No, you
Betsy.
go ahead. Go.
But it's not contributing, is it?
Clarification for me, the new sign's not gonna say Greco's.
No, it's a new name.
What is the new name?
It's Rendezvous Cafe.
Rendezvous.
Rendezvous.
Cafe.
Is it gonna say just Rendezvous or Rendezvous
Yes.
Cafe?
I think we'll say Rendezvous Cafe.
That's why you
That's-
need 12 feet.
Yeah. We have to put cafe in there,
Uh-huh.
so it's,
Yeah.
See, these are specifics we need to know before we can approve something.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we just can't.
The whole thing, it changed just like 2 days ago. When we said, okay, if you like
Yeah.
having, we are like Greekos, but if we having two kids, you don't want to call them the same name, so it's like,
Yes.
we have to have a different name.
Yeah.
But you
Are
still
we-
have Gricos.
We still have Greekos,
Okay.
his name.
Are we probably gonna be having a mid-February meeting?
Work session.
I think, well, we'll definitely have a work session, but I think we're having a meeting for other things, or we've been asked to have a meeting
Correct.
anyway. So, we do need the details of what the lettering is going to look like and what it's actually what's going to actually be on it. But I guess you still
I want
need
to
some
know
guidance from
what the
us.
size, yeah, so we can work.
I guess we can approve the concept, I guess.
I just have another question about the size. I mean, I think we're headed towards trying to approve it for you. We just have a few details to be able to work out. So if it is, it's the size of it that's very big, but if it's necessary, how much of that space does it take up? Does it take up the whole entire, wood frame up there?
Not the whole of it, at least, yeah, like from underneath, a little bit from here, a little bit from there.
Okay.
But it kind of be in the middle.
But you're
yeah.
centering it, so it's basically taking up
When
that
I
thing.
put that measure for this size, is just because I have this size, I would love to use it because it made a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's.
But you're gonna be doing a new
I
sign
have to,
anyway,
yeah, I'm
so.
doing a new sign, so now I can work with whatever signs, but if it's
Okay.
big sign, be easy to people can see, it will be really nice.
Yes.
So the reason you asked for that size sign was because that's what you have. You would like a big sign, but now that you're making a new sign, it doesn't have to be that big.
Exactly the size, yes.
Although he has more text to go on the new sign than on this one, that's gonna be hard to put it on to stack it on a 1-foot high sign.
Yeah, he probably
So-
needs to have the whole.
So I would
width.
think it would still need to be that
It does.
size you asked for. I mean, the full.
In our packet, there's two different measurements. There's a 14.3 and a 12.8.
The
Is there-
14.3 is a measure from the whole thing.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
12 thing is a sign itself.
Oh, okay, well, that answers my question that I was asking before. Right. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If you are, like, would you put it rendezvous and then cafe underneath? I think that's one of the questions that kind of came up, but I want to clarify, because if they agree to a 12-foot by 1 foot, it's this big. But if you want to put the stacked letters, they may need to be looking at a 12 feet by 2 feet. So you need to just be clear of what you're asking them.
Okay, so we're making like a logo design. Someone is designing right now, should be ready in like 2-3 days.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be the whole thing together, like she's designing as the logo making meaning for the whole thing. So we entered like Rendezvous Cafe, maybe the cafe would be under the name, next to the name, so I'm not sure. Yeah, but we, like, if you guys say, no, we would like prefer it this way, maybe I can give a hint to the designer, make sure to do it this way.
Well, what I'm hearing is we're leaning toward trying to accommodate you. So, but it would be very helpful to be able to actually see what the letters are going to look like, what the font's going to be, how it's all going to play out. So could we table this till our mid-February meeting and you come back with those details?
Of course.
With that design, that won't put you back too far?
We shooting to open March 1st, hopefully.
Okay.
So we can be with the visitor, like, I know the building just opening
Yeah.
in front of us, so
Yeah.
we're trying to be there at
Right.
the same time.
I think we're all in agreement on concept and
Well,
just the
and if-
detail of it.
If we agree on 12 square feet, then it may need to be 4 by 3 or some other proportion for you to be able to get your
Yes.
text and logo in the way you want it.
Yes,
So
And
should,
it looks like there's room to do it.
Yes.
A taller sign,
Yeah.
shorter and taller
so
if it
should
needs
we
to be
give
that.
him a specific of 12 square feet then?
Well, I think we probably ought to let him come up with his design and his size, and then just be us, because
Well,
it's hard to approve a sign size for him till we know exactly what he's going to do.
See, this is my concern if he's wanting to open it by March 1st, and I agree with you, Byram, on that, but he may decide that he wants to stack it, and it may end up being more than 12 square feet. I mean,
Well,
to
the point
get-
I was just trying to make,
That
Mark,
was my
was
point, is he's-
that you could stack it
Yeah.
yeah,
and probably have it shorter and taller,
right.
yeah.
and maybe we establish 12 as the
But
maximum
I
square
think,
footage.
I think he's hearing 12 feet long, then he'd go 12 feet long and then underneath
No,
it
well,
too.
that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I know
think-
that, but I want to make sure he understands that.
I'm saying that we could stipulate 12 square feet.
That's one of my questions.
As any way he wants
So
to do it.
12 feet by what? This is what the question is, right?
Well, maybe
Like,
12 feet by 1, but if you need your text in 2 lines,
yeah,
then it could be shorter and taller.
Shorter and taller.
yeah.
So
The
4
12
feet by 3 or 6 feet by 2.
The 12 square
Two.
feet, however you want to do it,
Okay.
however your designer comes up with it.
This, then I think we go with, we have to make sure how the design looks.
Yes.
And maybe next time, when I come in, I have more
Yes.
ideas.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think you're hearing us say that it's fine for it to be larger than the guidelines call for in the space that you're looking at, that we're looking there. We just need to see the details on it is all. And so after your designer gets those done, we'll be ready to approve it for you.
Of course, yeah. Can do that, so. What the date again?
We haven't said it, but I guess what's the,
It's in the
February
minutes.
February
I mean, the
16th
agenda.
Oh, okay.
is the request.
oh, the
Yeah.
request?
It's the 16th, so that's,
16th sounds really good.
is that okay? That's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks
Give
from
us-
tonight.
Yeah, 2 weeks from me, I give you 2
Yes.
weeks to do the sign
Yeah,
until we open in March, so.
Okay. okay?
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank
you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
And
much.
I guess we should stipulate that the lighting would have to be
From somewhere to.
From the top of it.
maybe
Yeah.
under it looks like there's an overhang with, I mean, there might be room on the backside of the front of that balcony,
I believe maybe like.
to put lighting that wouldn't show.
Like here, two there, and just.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Facing that thing.
Yeah,
But not the internal backlit like you had.
Right.
okay?
You
Okay,
guys have a good day.
Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. And moving on to discussion, we've sort of talked about it, but we have a request for a February 16th meeting for Peddling Jack COA for a sign. So it sounds like is everyone available on the 16th? Will that work?
I am. Where's Peddling Jacks? Sounds like a bike shop.
Yeah, I know it does. I think it's gonna be a men's clothing store, and it's going on top of, where Wolf Hills Coffee and the cider house is. It's going on the second story.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't know the details of where the sign's going to
I don't yet.
Okay, well, I'm available.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Grant submittal.
Well, we did submit it. Betsy helped me to the end.
I didn't help you much at all.
Oh, well, and so, I didn't put it in here. I can get you all a copy, but I know you had seen it. There wasn't a lot of edits at the end, other than copying and pasting Mr., I don't know how to pronounce his name, but we put his bio in there and made the edits. Byram helped immensely by giving me a variety of photos, which we put in, and a map of the area that we're looking at. So we'll see. I hit submit and it said, "Thank you for submitting. We'll let you know."
Always a good
So
sign.
therefore, that's the good
Yeah.
sign, yeah. What's not good is it doesn't say that.
It says nothing else, right?
When they call you and say,
Yeah.
we pulled your.
Yeah, so.
I
it
think
said
it was a
8
very
weeks.
strong proposal.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you
Yes.
so much for all
Thank
the
you
work,
very
and Betsy,
much,
you
yes.
too.
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
we'll see. I mean, we requested, we're requesting the 5,000. I put in there that we were gonna, have the match with all of our efforts by the board and the location that it will be, hopefully, if it all comes together. So, I'm excited, I think.
And when I was looking back through my notes to try to verify this number
Oh, yes.
we keep throwing all over the place, I did notice that a long time ago, we've been still wanting this same exact speaker. So
Yeah,
really,
that's right.
yes, a whole years ago. Right, so he keeps being recommended. He must be very good.
So are we going to turn that same meeting into our work session for the long range planning?
Suits me.
That work?
Yeah.
We can definitely, depending on the time. I imagine this other sign won't take us that long.
Right.
No, I bet not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I might bring something forward as well
Okay.
for the garage that
Oh, okay.
Mr. Alloy wants to put at the back of, the property I'm talking about, 131 West Main,
Oh.
East Main.
Oh, yeah. The, Ruby Catherine's,
Yeah, Rachel's house,
Rachel's house.
Okay.
Tom George's
Yeah.
house.
I can't wait to see that.
There's a structure
Beautiful.
there now, isn't it?
In that back corner, it's just a little, I don't know what it is.
If you could have that to me by Monday, I guess, we'd need that so that I can write a staff report and get the packets out by
Monday.
next Wednesday.
This coming Monday?
We try to have the packets out a week ahead of
Yeah,
the
right.
next meeting.
May not make that, I've got a
Okay.
deadline.
All right, sounds good.
So otherwise, I'll get it to you for March meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other business or matters not on the agenda?
I have a matter. So, I found these in my office. Does anybody have this book or don't?
I know of it, or I have it, or something.
I
I
might
haven't
have
seen it in a long time.
given you one, or maybe you came to hear
Uh-huh.
him when William Murtaugh was the first keeper of the National Register.
Huh.
He is deceased now, but in the early 2000s.
So we can't ask him to speak.
No,
We could ask.
I was
you
already
can ask,
thinking
but I
about
bet
that.
we won't get much of an answer. He spoke at a design symposium in Bristol that I organized for Believe in Bristol. This was in the early 2000s. He was fascinating and is really was one of the how to describe it exactly. He's as responsible as anybody for historic preservation in America. And this is the book that he wrote, and it was revised, I think this is like 99 or something, so it's not current, but it doesn't really need to be. Anyway, I have a stack here, and I'm happy to give everybody.
Oh, I'd love
I'd
one.
love to have one.
Yeah.
So, forgot I had these. They're a little bent because they were in a bookshelf, kind of smushed onto some other things.
Thank you, Peyton.
And then, oh, that's right. One for Christie. So I'll just leave that with you, Marion, if I could.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Sure. And it has the Secretary standards in the back as an appendix. And then it talks about the history of preservation and mentions.
Yes, I would love for us to have a good, inspiring speaker, when, you know, as we get going. I mean, this man that we're having is, that we're asking, is supposed to be. I was thinking of also having a lay person, someone who is, you know, has been living in a successful historic district for a long time, like somebody from Savannah, or, you know, Charleston was really good. I always refer to Joe Riley, but he just could not have been a more inspiring
Right.
speaker to everybody here from Charleston. Alexandria is a good spot. I asked about Lexington, but I didn't get any answers about that one. Virginia.
Do we need to have anything prepared for our work session?
I can prepare what you guys would like. Which direction would you like it to go? Like, do we want to start thinking, like, more formalizing how how the day might look that we're talking about for our kickoff, or?
Well, I guess there's several things going on, right? We've got the idea of contacting people ahead of time and talking to them and personally inviting them and working on that list.
Mhm.
And then I guess we don't actually have a date for the event yet. We're talking about maybe April or May, is that right?
Right, and this grant, we won't know until, for 8 weeks, so,
Sounds like there's not a great deal we can do.
Right.
Well, we probably ought to try to get our preservation plan, maybe, you know, agree on our goals and the objectives under it. I know that was just the sort of the start that we got.
Right, so we've got that, we can take a look at that.
I've got more notes from from the beginning of this, of issues that we had talked about, like, you know, the landscaping was an issue, Plum Alley was an issue.
oh, that's right.
There are several
Okay.
other sort of pending things that sounded pretty interesting that I could put together, I
Okay.
think I gave them to you, but I could put together a list of
I think
possible topics,
Yeah, we might have some of the.
discussion topics.
We can bring, because we also typed up the preservation. Yeah, we can bring like the other ones as well, so, okay.
So if we're thinking about the 1st of May, then we would be needing to contact people directly in earlier April, wouldn't we?
Well, maybe, I guess I think that's a discussion point, is what is the actual best time to do that? Before any advertising has gone out about it, or right when it does? You know, I'm afraid if we do it too early, we might run into some no's because they don't understand the beauty of it.
Well, why don't we put as an agenda item
Okay.
establishing a timeline
Yeah,
for
that's a
Okay.
great idea.
for this,
Okay.
and also getting our preservation plan points in more set in stone,
Okay.
and that should be enough to keep
Plus
us
two-
going.
Yeah, a couple of signs. I had one other topic I wanted to bring up.
Sure.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but we have a lot of what are called snipe signs that have appeared in the historic.
What are they?
What signs?
It's like those little, they're like political signs sized, but I've just seen that they're starting to be everywhere
What do they say?
for businesses. So, you know, like there's
on
3 in
sale?
front of the library now, there's about 5 in front of.
I've noticed that too.
And so I didn't know if you all wanted me to send out, like, we thought maybe like a bright colored postcard that says, you know, reminder, temporary signage.
Has to be
has to-
temporary.
Yeah, like needs to have a permit and must, you know,
Temporary
signage.
signs, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And they've just kind of,
Proliferated.
I don't wanna really call out anybody, but they're just everywhere right now. So
So-
I didn't know if you wanted me to do enforcement on that in more of a general, or if you would prefer, like, I take pictures and we say, hey, look, you've got temporary signage, it needs to come down.
So is there there is a requirement for permits for temporary signs?
There is.
There is, I did not know that. That's not part of the historic
No.
part, that's,
Mm-mm.
that's somewhere else in the code?
It is.
So
Is
what's
that
this,
I'm sorry.
what is the code on that? Because we had a discussion, I think the only time that was allowed was for political signs, which I thought I'd rather, you know, they put some.
I know it.
I'd like to get rid of those too.
What about real
personally.
estate signs?
I think real estate signs have always kind of had, a blind eye has been cast towards them because they truly are temporary, because once the house is sold. It's just that sometimes people will have their sign and then they'll put out like Saturday hours, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody else will say sale, you know, a sale on such and such a day, or then they
Yes.
start putting out little pictures of ice cream cones.
Uh-huh.
Do you
We
have
just
the-
get a lot of, there's just a lot right now, and I wanted to know what the.
So I guess do you have the ordinance language?
I don't
handy?
have it,
So any temporary sign technically,
Is
you're
supposed
supposed to have a
to.
permit
Mhm.
for.
Well, I like your idea of a nice bright, just to everyone, a
Okay.
reminder. Is there any other issue that they need to be reminded about?
I don't know, that's just the one that lately seems, I've just seen a lot of it, and I wasn't sure, you know.
Uh-huh.
And would that apply to like signs someone might, just put inside a window in their?
No, not inside a window, but just the ones that are stuck in the ground,
Yeah.
because
Is
they
Is
kind
that
of become.
townwide or just for the historic
It's
district?
town-wide, it's just that I've noticed it primarily right now, sort of creeping in all of our downtown spaces that have grass and that kind of thing, so. And I mean, it's not, you know, it's one of those sort of gentle reminders.
A gentle reminder, right.
Because I understand it, but it sort of does start making it look really cluttered.
It does.
And so, as we
It
move
does.
towards spring and more people might want to have. The other piece to this equation is that we're putting together language. Currently, the ordinance outside of the zoning ordinance doesn't allow any encroachments onto the sidewalk. So a town sidewalk is not supposed to have benches. It's not supposed to have,
Signs.
it's not supposed to have A-frame signs, and it's not sandwich board signs, and it's not supposed to have like seating. We don't really have a permitting process, so we're behind the scenes. I'm working with Public Works, and we're getting a form, and we're gonna come in front of the town council and ask for language in the code to allow those things, but then people would have to get them permitted.
And this is the new trend of wanting to have outside seating in restaurants, yeah.
Yes, because it's just very difficult from a legal perspective if, you know, for code compliance, but also, you know, as dramatic as it could get, if somebody hit somebody who was sitting in an outdoor space, it's not in, you know, it's in the town property now,
Mhm.
like it's encroached into the town, so we
Mhm.
need to verify that they have insurance to make sure that this outside seating, and so we looked at it and we said across the board, we probably need to talk about anything that's in a sidewalk, so the signs, like you were mentioning.
That's a sign.
I think that means, yeah, meeting adjourned. We can talk about this at the next one.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Another statement about one of the concerns about the sidewalk is businesses making a profit off the taxpayers' property. You know, is that legal?
Oh,
You know, when there's having dining tables set and they're serving customers on taxpayers' property.
rather than inside their restaurant.
Right. Does that?
I'm ready.
And so there should be a fee related to that, you know, there should be certain things,
Right.
there should be insurance, there should be, right now, the way that the, town ordinance reads, you know, it says no dirt, snow. It's kind of funny, it says no coal, like, you know, it's kind of a bit old-timey in its language, but no barrels, no, you know, nothing
Yeah.
is supposed to encourage on the sidewalk, so it needs a little flexibility, because right now we have nothing, so.
Okay.
So that'll be another one that, yeah. I have nothing else.
I'm afraid that I wrote on this that is not ours.
Yeah,
I thought it was
there's
mine.
each one.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, is
I
there,
think
is there a motion to
No, I don't
adjourn?
want it anymore, but I didn't. I
So
don't want it-
move.
I
Is
wanted
there a
I wanted
second?
to know that I ruined it.
To adjourn, second?
Second?
All right, roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Owens?
Aye.
And Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Kiesler?
Aye. All right.
So therefore, Mariana, I ruined this.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm
I-
sorry.
I think it's somebody else's, so go ahead and take it with you and.
Thank you.
Oh, I got this bag, Interplanet Janet. It's like cosmetics or something, but I found it in my bag.
And we leave these here with you,
Storage.
right? I like
We'll,
that.
we'll fill it back
Yeah.
up with the next.
I like that.